In standard physics, the mathematical models that describe our universe present a paradox. When evaluated globally, the equations suggest a universe that is entirely stationary, with no inherent dimension of time flowing in the background. This is the Page-Wooders state vector. It maps quantum reality and equals zero, a static universe of zero change. J-theory resolves this by partitioning the universe into two entangled subsystems, a localized clock node representing an observer, and the unrendered rest of the field. This discrete relational approach completely departs from classical physics, which historically treated spacetime as a continuous, stretching physical fabric. Under Logos field theory, time is not a physical property of nature. It is a macroscopic rendering artifact, the subjective user interface produced by an algorithmic decompression process. To maintain the stability of this interface, the system requires a specific sampling frequency to render data frame by frame. This localized tracking node updates at a hardware clock speed of exactly 23.6742 MHz. With every tick, the system fetches raw arithmetic code from the Adelic ring, an infinite static background ledger where past, present, and future values exist simultaneously as pure p-adic data. Time is a sequential index numbering each frame of reality. It acts as a serial distribution filter, effectively protecting our localized consciousness from the catastrophic information overflow of an infinite database. Because the global Adelic ring contains all possible states at once, an observer cannot read the entire block simultaneously. The data must be sampled along a specific trajectory. This is the complex plane of the Riemann zeta function. J-theory anchors the observer's node on the critical line. Sweeping vertically up the imaginary axis, the coordinate t becomes time. A Markov matrix fetches static p-adic data, flattening it into the macro render. If time is simply a computational readhead moving along a numerical axis, why is it impossible for the calculation to run in reverse? The directionality is a result of the foundational variables of the field, 8-dimensional octononic state vectors. This inequality shows that octononic mathematics are non-associative. Changing the order of operations alters the mathematical outcome. Because of this path dependence, every forward computational tick changes the structure of the underlying state ledger. The universe cannot compute backward. The arrow of time is a one-way street because reversing the algebraic path no longer matches the structure of the unrolling code. The mechanics of this quantum clock cycle scale up to account for the physical effects traditionally attributed to gravity and velocity. The Logos flow equation models informational density. Dot tau represents the observer's frame rate. Phi max is the maximum hardware throughput. In the exponent, eta psi evaporation is informational viscosity, spiking near massive objects. R is the buffer limit. In a vacuum, viscosity drops to zero, maximizing processor frame rate. But in a gravitational well, the informational density causes a data bottleneck on the 23 MHz serial bus. The exponential term drops, which we perceive as a slowing of the local execution frame rate. A local observer cannot detect. This bottleneck reaches a hardware ceiling at the event horizon of a black hole, where data saturation approaches infinity. The infinite viscosity forces the equation to zero. The local refresh rate drops to 0 frames per second, and clock execution stalls entirely. Gravity is an exponential throttling algorithm designed to prevent the universal serial bus from crashing under extreme local data density. This computational lag also manifests in the fluid dynamics of physical matter, rendering within that space. The Adelic fluid information model treats the vacuum as an informational fluid experiencing localized processing viscosity. This term introduces the octononian torsion tensor. While classical fluids have no geometric memory, octononian fields are non-associative. The vacuum physically remembers the directional path of its own rotation. This creates computational snags that catch the fluid, altering its vorticity. The final term is the discrete Adelic source-sink operator. Unlike classical systems where mass is strictly conserved, mass energy in this model is an emergent, rendered property. When the system hits an octononian snag, the resulting bus lag causes fragments of the macro render to de-render. They bleed momentum away and vent directly back to microscopic p-adic data registers. Physical turbulence is a macroscopic symptom of microscopic arithmetic friction and data venting. The physical universe is the output of a precise processing pipeline. Raw arithmetic is sampled by a node updating at 23.67 million cycles per second. Non-associative logic ensures one-way flow. Computational lag creates physical effects like gravity and turbulence. Logos field theory replaces the concept of a stretching physical fabric with a processing vacuum bounded by rigid bandwidth limits. This model allows for a stable, sequential experience of reality, protecting consciousness from the catastrophic data density of the underlying Adelic ring. We do not travel through space or exist in time. Time is the processing lag of your mind reading the cosmic script.